Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We're discussing the Brihad Bhagavatamrta, second part, which tells about the travels of a cowherd boy from Govardhan named Gopkumar.
我们一直在讨论大伯加瓦坛甘露第二部分这部书。他讲的是戈尔丹山的一个牧牛童，名字叫 Gopa Kumar， 他的旅行。
To Dwarka.
他首先他在地球上旅行，然后他去了天堂，之后他又去了瓦昆塔，从瓦昆塔他又去了 Dwarka。
And in Dwarka he met with Narada Muni and Uddhava.
Gopa Kumar 在 Dwarka 遇见了圣人 Narada Muni 和 Uddhava。
So Narada Muni was explaining to Gopkumar that there's a place beyond Dwarka in the spiritual sky, which is Goloka. And in Goloka, there are many wonderful devotees.
Narada Muni 就向 Gopa Kumar 描述说，在灵性天空呢，有一个超越了 Vaikuntha 的Dwarka 的地方，那里呢，那个星球名字叫 Goloka， 在这个星球上有很多奇妙美妙的奉献者。
And he's explaining to him that Goloka and Gokul, which is on the planet Earth, are practically non-different.
他还解释说 ，Goloka 和地球上的 Gokula 几乎就是没有区别的。
And Narada Muni was explaining the different pastimes of Lord Krishna, which he performed in Gokul, and how Lord Krishna is always enjoying with these wonderful devotees in Vrindavan.
Narada Muni 还描述了，主 Krishna 在 Gokula 享受了许许多多的逍遥时光，跟他在 Vrindavan 的奉献者一起享受。
And among all these people in Gokul, these cowherd ladies, the gopis, are the greatest devotees of Krishna.
在 Vrindavan 众多的奉献者当中，那些牧牛女名字叫 Gopi， 她们是最杰出、最突出的。
So one of the differences between Goloka and Gokul is that on the Earth planet, Gokula, not everyone can see Krishna all the time.
Goloka 和地球上 Gokula 的一个区别是，在 Gokula 不是所有人都能够看得见 Krishna。
But in Goloka, everyone can see Krishna all the time.
然而在 Goloka， 所有的奉献者每时每刻都可以见得到 Krishna。
But in Gokula, on this earth planet, Krishna comes only one time in a day of Brahma.
在地球上的 Krishna 在 Brahma 的一天当中会 会降临一次。
And that will be at the end of a Dwapara Yuga.
就是在多尔帕尔 Yuga 的末尾的时候降临。
Dwapara Yuga. Dwapara Yuga. Remember? There's, what's it called? Tongchi Niandai?
铜器，多尔帕尔 Yuga 就是铜器年代。
Just like 5,000 years ago, Lord Krishna came. That was actually the very special time in the day of Brahma when Lord Krishna comes.
就是恰恰就在5000年前，那个特殊的时刻，主 Krishna 在这个多尔帕铜器年代的末尾，他降临到地球上。
So in Vaikuntha, Krishna has his associates, people like Garuda, are always with him.
Krishna 在外昆塔有他的同游 Garuda 总是和他在一起。
Right? Garuda is the bird carrier of Lord Krishna. Takes him different places wherever he wants to go, and Garuda will also sometimes he will protect Krishna from the hot sun.
Garuda 是 Krishna 的座驾，一只大鸟，它会背着 Krishna 到不同的地方。有的时候呢，它还会保护 Krishna， 不让 Krishna 免受炎烈日的灼烧。
But in Goloka, Garuda is not there, but Nanda Maharaj is there, and the people of Vrindavan, and they're always with Krishna.
但是在Goloka 没有 Garuda 不在 Goloka 有 Nanda 大军，还有 Vrindavan 的居民们，他们总是想着怎么保护 Krishna。
And they're with him both on Gokula and in Goloka at the same time.
这些居民们，他们同时既在 Goloka 也在 Gokula。
Just like Krishna can expand himself, his great devotees like Nanda Maharaj, Mother Yashoda, they can also expand.
正如同主 Krishna 他可以扩展一样，南达大军和亚收的妈妈也可以扩展。
So they're in both places with Krishna for their pleasure and for Krishna's pleasure.
所以南达大军和亚收的妈妈，他们既在Goloka也在Gokula，他既是为了这样做呢，既是为了主 Krishna 的快乐，也是为了他们自身的快乐。
So, of course, we would also like to see Krishna's pastimes. We would all like to see Krishna's pastimes. So there's a particular practice, it's a spiritual discipline which is required to actually enter in, to be able to see these pastimes.
所以主 Krishna 的消时光呢是独一无二的，我们想要进入或者是看见这些消时光呢，是需要练习一种特殊的纪律来规范自己。
So, Gopkumar, if he wants to see Krishna in Gokula, or even if he wants to see Krishna, he doesn't need to go back to earth because he's already in Vaikuntha. He's already up in Dwarka, beyond Vaikuntha.
倘若 Gopakumar 希望能见到主 Krishna， 他这时候已经无需再回到地球上了，因为他现在已经在Vaikuntha的 Dwarka。
But to go into Goloka, you have to have you have to do special practice, you have to have special sadhana.
为了要进入 一个人需要修习特殊的 sadhana， 一种特殊的练习规范修行。
But for people like Nanda Maharaj, he's Nitya Siddha. He's an eternally liberated soul. He doesn't have to do the spiritual practice because he's already perfect.
但是对于南的 Maharaj， 南的大君，他已经是 Nitya Siddha， 永恒完美的灵魂，他不需要去灵修，他已经完美了。
So there's different stages which devotees may reach. You see, some devotees they may be able to see Krishna, but they may not be able to see Krishna engaging his pastimes.
所以灵修呢有不同的阶段，有的奉献者他们也许能见得到 Krishna， 但是他们看不见 Krishna 怎么进行逍遥时光。
And some other devotee, they may be able to see Krishna's pastimes, but they're not able to take part in Krishna's pastimes.
还有其他的奉献者，也许他们看得见 Krishna 的逍遥时光，但是却无法亲身参与到这个逍遥时光中。
So there's different stages of perfection.
这些呢就是完美的不同阶段。
So Narada Muni says to Gopkumar, he said, how is it you are so eager to see all these pastimes?
Narada Muni 就对 Gopakumar 说，那你是又为什么你那么渴望要见到 Krishna 的逍遥时光呢？
Because he's just a simple cowherd boy from Govardhan. He's not so educated, but still he's so eager. He wants so much to take part in Krishna's pastimes.
Gopakumar 仅仅是狗尔丹山的一个简单的淳朴的牧牛童而已，他没有受过什么教育，他又如何变得有这么渴望想要见到这些逍遥时光呢？
So Narada Muni says to him, he says, you have to understand it's very difficult to achieve this perfection in spiritual practice.
Narada Muni 告诉 Gopakumar， 你要知道，要想达到这样的灵性的完美境界是多么困难。
Of course, Gopkumar will say, well, come on, you can give me your blessings. You're a great devotee. If you bless me, then I can do it.
Gopakumar 他可以说，那好吧，那Narada Muni， 那你就来祝福我吧。如果我有你的祝福，我就达到完美了。
But Narada Muni says, well, even my mercy will not be of much help. My mercy is not sufficient.
但是Narada Muni 说，即便是有我的帮助，有我的祝福还不够，我的仁慈还不足以帮你达到完美。
So this way Narada Muni wants to really test Gopkumar. Does he really want to achieve this?
所以Narada Muni呢，他就是这样子在试验Gopakumar， 他是不是真的想要达到这一完美境界呢？
So Narada Muni said, there's only a few human beings who know how to behave properly in this world.
Narada Muni 接着又说道，在这个世界上，只有寥寥无几的人类，他们知道怎么是正确的，什么是正确的、恰当的行为举止。
We see there's so many living entities. There's so many living entities, and they have so many different bodies. Some have insects, some plants, some birds, animals, but they have no intelligence.
有这么多种类的、诸多种类的生物，昆虫、植物、鸟类、动物，它们种类繁多。
They don't have the intelligence to know what is spiritual life.
他们没有恰当的智慧去了解什么是灵性的生活。
So even among human beings, only a few human beings can understand what is right and what is wrong.
即便是在 当中呢，也只有少数的人类才能有这个分辨力，知道是什么是正确的，什么是错误的。
You know, when we try to tell people you shouldn't eat meat, you shouldn't do this, we tell them a rule, they cannot understand what's wrong. They think, what's wrong with that?
当我们告诉人们，你们不应该吃肉，有这样的规则那样的规则，他们就会反问啊，这有什么错呢？
So they're only interested in money and sense gratification.
他们满脑子想的都是怎么赚钱，想的都是感官享乐。
And there's just maybe a few, just a small number of people who are interested in actually being religious and thinking about getting a better life, going to the higher planets.
在人类社会当中呢，也只有非常少数的人们，他们对宗教生活，对于有虔诚心，怎么过一种更好的生活，能够有更好的来生、更高等的出生感兴趣。
And about the few people who may go to the higher planets, there's only a few who will want to go there without material desires.
在那些想去到高等星宿的人们当中，又有寥寥无几的人，他们是希望不怀任何物质欲望的去高等星宿。
And among them, there's a few there's very less number who may want liberation.
在这些寥寥无几的人们当中呢，又有更少的人，他们想要得到解脱。
Only a few, you know, it's very rare people even think about liberation.
我们知道呢，想着解脱的人是非常罕见的。
And of those people who may think about liberation, then there's an even less number who are transcendental, who are really liberated souls.
而在那些希望可获得解脱的人们当中呢，又有更少、为数不多的人，是超然的人物，是真正的已经达到了解脱的人。
And then from them, there's even less number who are really devotees, who are dedicated to the service of Krishna, the Lord.
而在这样的寥寥无几的已经解脱了的灵魂当中呢，又有更少的，为数不多的人，他们是真正的奉献者，他们已经臣服了，他们满怀着奉爱之心。
So we see some people they may be doing yoga, they're steady in their practice of yoga, and from these, some people actually understand the self. They really know who they've realized their self.
我们看到呢，有一些人，他们是在瑜伽修行当中呢，已经达到了十分稳定的阶段。但是呢，这些人呢，真正了解何谓自我的人，他们自己真正是谁，这是为数不多、寥寥无几的。
So those who have understood the self, they are Paramahamsa.
那些已经理解了自我的人，他们被称为 Paramahamsa 至尊天鹅。
But many of these people, they get that level just by some good karma.
他们之所以很多人达到了这样的阶段呢，是因为他们有很好的 karma， 有很好的业报。
So you get a few liberated souls, only a few are perfect.
在这些很少数的已经解脱了的灵魂当中呢，达到完美的又不多。
And less than that, you get some people who are actually devotees.
而且在这个达到完美的人当中，又有为数不多的人是真正的奉献者。
Right? And the devotees, they understand liberation is not important.
这些奉 献者明白解脱并不重要。
There's as many living entities as there are atoms. In other words, there's an infinite number of living entities. Just like there's an infinite number of atoms, there's an infinite number of living entities.
就像就是有无穷无尽的原子一样，所以生物的数量也是无穷无尽的。
Right? So among all these living entities, only very few have human body.
而在这些无穷无尽的生物当中呢，只有寥寥无几的是拥有人类的身体出生。
And even less than that, you get people, very few people who are religious.
而在这些有不多的为数不多的已经获得了人体生命的人类当中，那些有着虔诚心的人又非常少。
And of those people who are religious, only a few are interested to get liberation.
在这些有着宗教心、虔诚心的人们当中，只有为数不多的，他们希望能获得解脱。
So to get liberation, they have to give up all material attachment to the family and the society and everything.
为了得到解脱的话，他们要放弃物质的依附，比如说对家庭、对社会的依附。
And there's among these liberated souls, there's only a very few actually know what is real liberation.
而在这些想要获得解脱的人们当中，只有为数不多的知道什么是真正解脱是什么含义。
Right? The perfection of knowledge of liberation is to be a devotee of Narayan or Krishna.
解脱的真正的完美，就是成为主 Narayana 或主 Krishna 的奉献者。
So even among the devotees of the Lord, there's also some differences.
甚至在主的奉献者当中呢，他也有各式各类的不同层面的奉献者。
Right? There may be many devotees, but only a few they will give their heart to become the friend of Lord Krishna.
在这些各式各样的奉献的当中呢，只有个别奉献者是全心全意的想要成为主 Krishna 的朋友。
So the method of practice will be different according to the different goal people want to achieve.
根据人们想要达到的目标不同，他们采取的修习方法也是各类五花八门的。
So the Vedic scriptures describe different things for different people.
所以在伟达经典当中呢，就为各式各样的人们，他们描述了各式各样的方法。
Just like in the scriptures, the Vedas, they may teach more about economic development because people are very interested to get sense gratification.
正如在伟达经当中呢，也有描述想要获得经济发展的部分，这是为那些想要取得感官享乐的人们准备的。
And they'll teach less. The Vedas teach a bit less about religion.
伟达经就是对于宗教的教导不是那么多。
And then they'll teach even less about liberation.
而且在这些有关于宗教的教导当中呢，对于解脱的教导又更加少。
And they'll teach even less about devotional service.
而在所有关于解脱的教导当中呢，对于奉爱服务的部分又涉及的少之又少。
So to get economic development and sense gratification, there's a lot of things people can do.
为了得到感官享乐，获得经济发展，人们可以做各式各样的事情。
Yeah, they can use their body, mind, words in so many ways to get economic development and sense gratification.
他们可以用自己的躯体、心意、言语，为了获得感官享乐、经济发展，从事种种活动。
But for religious practice, people have to do things like give charity and go to visit holy places.
但是对于宗教修习来说呢，人们呢，他们要进行布施，要去拜访圣地。
And they should cultivate proper behavior and practice austerity. This is all good for religious life.
他们要注意自己的行为举止，要采取苦行，这些都是有利于宗教修习的。
But to get liberation, it's more difficult. There's not so many things you can do to get liberation. You have to practice things like Ashtanga yoga.
但是呢，有关于解脱呢，你要采取的方法呢，并不多，就是需要去做 Ashtanga yoga 8部瑜伽体系。
And to do bhakti yoga, people have to do hearing and chanting.
而对于 Bhakti Yoga 奉爱瑜伽的程序来说，人们需要去聆听和唱诵。
So we don't find much about hearing and chanting in many scriptures. They don't speak about that hearing and chanting.
所以我们看到呢，经典当中涉及聆听和唱诵的这个文字不多。
They'll speak more about how to get economic development and sense gratification.
对于感官享乐和取得经济发展来说呢，也有诸多大量的描述。
So you can see how it's difficult to get pure devotional service.
所以我们看到呢，要取得纯粹的奉献服务是多么艰难和罕见。
But if we want to go to Goloka, you have to develop pure love for Krishna.
但是如果我们真的要去 Goloka 的话，必须要发展对 Krishna 的纯洁无瑕的爱。
So then Narada Muni says to Gopkumar, he said, there are different devotees of Krishna, but he said, I'm not able to describe them.
拿的穆尼就告诉Gopkumar，主 Krishna 的奉献者也是种类繁多的，但是我无法向你一一描述。
Because they're in the home of Uddhava. Uddhava is present, and Narada Muni knows Uddhava is more qualified than him to speak about this very confidential topic.
因为他们当时是在乌达瓦家中，拿的穆尼就认为乌达瓦比他自己更有资格来描述这些机密的体旨。
Because they're going to speak about the special mood of the gopis and their service to Krishna.
他们将要讨论的是牧牛姑娘 Gopi 们对主 Krishna 所怀的特有的心态和他们独一无二的服务。
So Narada Muni embraced Uddhava, and then he begged him. He said, please, you tell us about this.
拿着穆尼就深情地拥抱了乌德瓦，恳求他，请你给我们描述这一切吧。
So Uddhava, he bows his head, and then he says, I offer my obeisances to the dust from the feet of the women of Vrindavan. In other words, the gopis.
乌德瓦低下了头，他说：“我首先 向那些问答问的牧牛女，向他们足下的尘土致以我谦卑的顶礼。
So for a short time, Uddhava appeared to be very distressed and disturbed. But then he took hold of Narada's feet and he began to speak.
有那么片刻的时间呢，乌德瓦看上去好像是非常的痛苦，非常的心意不安。接着呢，他就紧紧握住了拿德穆尼的足，开始讲述。
So Uddhava describes, he says, the gopis of Vrindavan, they gave up the association of their husbands and their sons and their family.
乌德瓦说，这些稳达文的狗皮们放弃了他们的丈夫、儿子和家人的联谊。
Uddhava said these things are very difficult to give up, but the gopis, they gave them up.
乌德瓦说，这一切呢都是非常难以放弃的，但是狗皮们、牧牛姑娘们，她们放弃了。
And they gave up even their chastity to take shelter of Krishna.
他们甚至放弃了自己的贞洁，来托庇于主 Krishna。
So Uddhava says, he said, I would like the blessing to be one of the bushes or the grass in Vrindavan, because the gopis trample them, and that way I can get the dust from their feet.
乌德瓦说，我渴望能够得到祝福，成为稳达文的一丛灌木，或者是一丛草，这样那些牧牛姑娘，她们就能从我头上踏着经过，这样我就能得到她们足上的尘土了。
So after saying this, Uddhava jumped up and he began to speak more about these gopis. He became very emotional and very, very ecstatic.
说完这番话呢，乌德瓦就是跳了起来，这时候他变得更加的狂喜，而且他充满了感情，内心。
Uddhava describes, he said, when Krishna was dancing with the gopis in Rasa Lila, the gopis were embraced by Krishna.
乌德瓦说，当狗皮们和 Krishna 一起共跳 Rasa 之舞的时候，主 Krishna 就拥抱着他们。
He said this favor was never given to Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune.
这种幸运甚至没有赐予幸运女神 Lakshmi。
Even the other ladies in the spiritual world, the consorts of the Lord, they never got that pleasure.
甚至灵性世界主的伴侣，他们也没有得到这种恩宠。
And even the most beautiful women in the heavenly planets, they could never achieve this.
连天堂上那些姿色艳丽的美女们，她们也得不到这种恩宠。
So even the ordinary women here who are very beautiful, but they have no chance to ever enjoy this pleasure which was given to the gopis.
甚至在这里那些普通的女子，她们也得不到机会能够享受狗皮们得到快乐。
So then Narada Muni he was very surprised, and he looked at Gopkumar and begins to speak.
拿德穆尼呢就变得非常的惊讶， 他就看着Gopa Kumar开始讲话。
Because Narada Muni could understand how difficult it was to get this love to go to Goloka.
那的穆尼明白到，想得到这份爱，去Goloka能够得到这份爱，去到Goloka是多么的困难。
So Narada Muni says Uddhava is the best of all the devotees of Krishna because he's so much absorbed in the mood, in glorifying the gopis.
拿的穆尼说，乌德瓦是主 Krishna 最优秀的奉献者，因为他是如此专注的沉浸在荣耀Gopi的心态，荣耀Gopi心态当中。
And he said, just look at Uddhava, that he's praying to take birth as a blade of grass, just so he can get the dust from the feet of the gopis.
然后他就看着乌德瓦，因为乌德瓦祈祷，甚至愿意投生为一丛草，能够得到Gopi的尘土，莲花族的尘土。
Then Narada says, one of Krishna's most favorite wife is Rukmini, and she's very dear to the Lord.
那的穆尼就说，主 Krishna 有一个非常宠爱的王后，是 Rukmini 王后，她是主 Krishna 非常亲切的人。
And Rukmini, she gave up the religious principles of an aristocratic lady just to be with Krishna.
Rukmini 放弃了，就是作为一个，放弃了宗教原则，就成为一个高贵的女士的宗教原则，只是为了跟主 Krishna 生活在一起。
Because Rukmini's brother had arranged her marriage to another man, but Rukmini wrote to Krishna and told Krishna to come and kidnap her and take her away.
Rukmini 的哥哥安排他自己的妹妹嫁给另外一个男子， Rukmini 就写信给主 Krishna， 让他来绑架自己。
So when Krishna got the letter, he came there, and Rukmini, she was just about to be married to this other man, but Krishna came and kidnapped her.
当主 Krishna 得到这封信之后呢，他就火速的就来到 Rukmini 的婚礼现场，然后这时候 Rukmini 她正是要嫁给另一个男子，然后就被主 Krishna 绑架走了。
And Rukmini has so much love for Krishna, so much attachment to Krishna, that sometimes Krishna will joke with her.
Rukmini 呢是深爱着Krishna， 非常依附 Krishna， 但是有一次呢 Krishna 就跟他开玩笑。
Yeah. One time when Rukmini and Krishna already had grandchildren, but Krishna joked with Rukmini and said, you know, I'm not really a good husband for you. I'm not qualified to be your husband.
甚至主 Krishna 和 Rukmini 都有了孙子的时候呢，有一次主 Krishna 告诉 Rukmini， 你知道吗？我不是一个好丈夫，事实上我没有资格来娶你。
Yeah, he said, there were so many good men who wanted to marry you. He said, I'm just a cowherd. I'm just from the family of the cowherd people. He said, they were all kings. He said, I think you should go to them.
有那么多优秀的男子都想对你倾慕已久，想要娶你为妻，但是你知道吗？我只是一个来自一个牧牛郎的家庭的牧牛童，而他们都是伟大的君王。
But if you will go with them, you go to them, I think you'll have a better life than with me. And when Rukmini heard this, she just fainted. She just fell unconscious.
我觉得如果你跟这些伟大的君王结婚呢，会比跟我在一起生活有更好、更幸福的生活。当 Rukmini 听完这番话之后，就直接的就晕了过去。
Rukmini almost died out of fear that Krishna was going to give her up.
Rukmini 几乎就是因为害怕被主 Krishna 放弃，而就几乎因为这个念头就几乎就死去了。
So Rukmini is, she's very fortunate that she's the wife of Krishna, but she's not equal to the gopis.
Rukmini 是如此的幸运，以致成为主 Krishna 的妻子，但是甚至她也不能跟那些勾皮牧牛姑娘媲美。
The special favor which is given to the gopis, the position of the gopis, is they're greater than anybody else, any of these other wives of Krishna.
那些勾皮牧牛姑娘所获得的特殊的恩宠，甚至超过了主 Krishna 的这些伟大的妻子们。
And Rukmini's position, she's a greater devotee than Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune.
Rukmini 的地位是，她的地位甚至超过了 Lakshmi 幸运女神的地位。
But even though Rukmini is greater than the goddess of fortune, she cannot equal the gopis.
即便 Rukmini 的甚至比幸运女神的地位更高，但是她却无法跟那些勾皮们相提并论。
So that these ladies who are Krishna's wives in Dwarka, they're all very attractive, beautiful women. They're just like women of heaven. The most beautiful women are said to be in the heavenly planets, because Krishna's wives are all very beautiful. But they cannot, still Krishna is more attracted to the gopis.
Dwarka 的那些主 Krishna 的妻子们，她们个个都美若天仙，个个都迷人非凡。但是勾皮们的吸引力甚至超过了这些 Dwarka 的皇后对 Krishna 的吸引力。
Krishna has 16,108 queens.
主 Krishna 有16108个妻子。
And from all of these queens, 8 are very principal. They're the main queens.
而在这16108位王后当中，有8位最主要的王后。
Among the 8 queens, you have queens like Kalindi and Satyabhama, and the prominent of the 8 queens, there's Rukmini.
这8位主要的皇后当中呢，有卡琳迪、萨提亚巴玛，而在他们当中呢，最首要的一位皇后就是 Rukmini。
But even Rukmini never gets the same favor as the gopis that Krishna gives the gopis.
但是就连 Rukmini 皇后也未曾得到那些勾皮们所得到的，从主 Krishna 那里得到的恩宠。
So if even Rukmini doesn't get it, then the other queens, they don't have a chance to get any of the favor, special favor of Krishna.
所以，如果连 Rukmini 都没有机会能得到这样从主 Krishna 那里得到这些特殊的宠幸的话，那更何况其他的皇后呢？
So Uddhava is saying, he said, I'm just an insignificant person. I don't have any right to try to describe about these gopis.
乌德瓦说：“我只是一个微不足道的小人物，我没有权利来描述这些狗皮牧牛姑娘们。”
Oh, sorry, Narada speaking. Narada said this. Narada said, I have no right to speak. He said, but Uddhava, he is special. He knows about the gopis.
这句话实际上是拿的穆尼说的。拿的穆尼说他自己没有权利来描述那些狗皮们。
Because
而乌德瓦他是特殊的，他可以描述。
Krishna had sent Uddhava from Dwarka to go to Vrindavan to deliver a message to the gopis.
因为主Krishna曾经把乌德瓦派遣到文达文，从多尔卡派到文达文去给那些牧牛姑娘们捎信儿。
So at that time, Uddhava was able to meet all the people of Vrindavan, and he was able to see how much love they had for Krishna.
所以，借此机会呢。乌德瓦能够有幸能够遇见文达文的居民们，能够一瞥文达文居民们对 Krishna 所满怀的深情厚。
And when Uddhava was in Vrindavan, he got so much mercy from the gopis that he forgot all about Krishna.
当乌达瓦在文达文的时候，他得到了狗皮们巨大的仁慈。在那一个时刻呢，他甚至连 Krishna 也抛到了脑后。
So, Uddhava is very close to Krishna, and Krishna considers Uddhava worthy to get special mercy from him, from Krishna.
乌德瓦跟主 Krishna 有着非常亲近的关系，主 Krishna 就认为他有资格能够得到他的仁慈。
And that special mercy was Krishna sent Uddhava to Vrindavan, and then in Vrindavan he was able to see how the gopis loved Krishna.
这份仁慈就是主 Krishna 把乌德瓦派到了文达文。使他得以能见到文达文那些狗皮们。
The gopis, even they would see Krishna face to face, still they would feel separation from Krishna.
这些牧牛姑娘们，当他们在甚至跟主 Krishna 面对面在一起的时候，仍然感到内心与 Krishna 的分离之情。
Because the gopis were always in this separation, ecstasy of separation. So this was Uddhava was able to see this, how they were in separation from Krishna, and this was the mercy, this was the special mercy Uddhava was getting from the gopis.
因为狗皮们、牧牛姑娘们，她们总是敢在内心体验到跟主 Krishna 分离的狂喜之情，所以主乌德瓦他得到的这份仁慈。就是他得以见证到这些牧牛姑娘们的这份分离当中的狂喜。
And so, because Uddhava was with the gopis, he just forgot all about Krishna. Although he'd been friends with Krishna since a child, he forgot all about Krishna when he came into the association of the gopis.
当乌德瓦见到了这些牧牛姑娘的时候。即便他从孩提时代起就是主 Krishna 的朋友，但是就在这个时候，他在与狗皮们、牧牛姑娘们的联谊当中呢，他甚至忘记了主 Krishna。
So there's a person called Akrura, who is the uncle of Krishna, and he was given also special mercy. He was sent to Vrindavan to bring Krishna from Vrindavan to Mathura.
有一个名叫阿库热的人物，他是主 Krishna 的叔叔，他得到了特殊仁慈是，他也被派到了文达文，把 Krishna 从文达文带到马图拉。
Yeah, he was sent by Kamsa. Kamsa gave him a chariot, a new chariot, and told him, go to Vrindavan and bring Krishna and Balaram.
他是被康瑟国王派遣的，康瑟国王给了他一辆崭新的战车，告诉他，命令他把 Krishna 和 Balarama 从文达文带到马图拉。
So Akrura was an old man, and he had a lot of dry knowledge. He was a jnani.
阿库热是上了年纪的长者，他有很多枯燥的知识。jnani 他是一位 jnani 思辨家。
The name Akrura means one who is not cruel, but Akrura became very cruel because he took Krishna away from Vrindavan.
Akrura 这个词的字面的意思是不残忍，但是 Akrura 因为把主 Krishna 从 Vrindavan 带出了 Vrindavan， 所以他变成了残忍的。
So his heart was very dry because he didn't know about the rasa, he didn't know about devotional service.
他的内心呢是枯燥的、干枯的，因为他不了解奉献服务的 rasa 滋味。
So he had no appreciation for the mood of the gopis, the people of Vrindavan.
他对于狗皮们的心态，对于 Vrindavan 不是那么欣赏。
If he had known, then he would never have taken on that service to bring Krishna away from Vrindavan.
如果他知道的话，他了解的话，他就不会担当起这个服务，把 Krishna 从 Vrindavan 带出了 Vrindavan。
But still, he was, he understood about Krishna, and he was meditating on Krishna's lotus feet.
但是 Akrura 他是明白 Krishna 的，知道 Krishna 的，他冥想着 Krishna 的莲花足。
And he was speaking about how he would glorify Krishna with his words, that Krishna is the supreme. And he was appreciating also the wonderful qualities of the gopis.
Akrura 就用他的言语，荣耀 Krishna， 称他为至尊。他也欣赏那些狗皮们的品质。
So we're told about what Akrura was thinking as he came to Vrindavan.
就是描述了当 Akrura 他前往 Vrindavan 的途中，他的所思所想。
That he's thinking about how the lotus feet of Krishna are worshipped by so many demigods, even Lord Brahma, and even Lord Shiva.
他就在冥想，主 Krishna 的莲花足甚至受到那些伟大的半神人 Brahma、Shiva 的崇拜。
He's going to describe in a progression from the lowest to the highest. So he begins speaking about the demigods, and among the demigods, Brahma is the topmost demigod, and above Brahma even is Lord Shiva.
他就要从低到高渐进的描述这些人是怎么崇拜主 Krishna 莲花足的。他就始于半神人，在半神人当中 ，Brahma 是最高的， 但是主 Shiva 的地位甚至高于 Brahma。
And above Lord Shiva is the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi.
在主 Shiva 的地位之上的是幸运女神 Lakshmi。
And then you've got also the devotees, the Vaishnavas and the great sages.
之后呢，然后随后是那些伟大的 Vaishnava， 那些伟大的圣人们。
And above that you've got Krishna's cowherd boyfriends, the Gopas, the cowherd boys, who walk with Krishna in the forests of Vrindavan.
而在这些伟大的 Vaishnava 圣人们地位之上的是那些 Gopa Krishna 的牧牛童朋友，他们在森林Vrindavan 的森林当中跟 Krishna 一起行走。
And even greater than the cowherd boys of Vrindavan are the cowherd ladies of Vrindavan, the gopis.
而在这些跟 Krishna 在 Vrindavan 的丛林当中一起行走的 Gopa 的地位之上的是 Vrindavan 的 Gopi 那些牧牛姑娘们。
So this is how Akrura is thinking on his way to Vrindavan to meet Krishna.
Akrura 在前往 Vrindavan 去会见 Krishna 的途中，就这样一路想着这些人物。
The Brahma and the demigods, they worship Krishna. He is the supreme.
那包括 Brahma 在内的半神人们都纷纷的崇拜主 Krishna， 把他当成至尊者。
And Lakshmi, she's giving wealth to different people. She bestows blessings which will bring people wealth. But she also worships Krishna.
Lakshmi 幸运女神呢，就给予人们祝福，赐予人们能够得到财富。但是甚至 Lakshmi 女神，她也崇拜主 Krishna。
So it means the lotus feet of Krishna are a greater wealth than any wealth Lakshmi can give.
这就意味着主 Krishna 的莲花足这份财富远远超越了 Lakshmi 幸运女神能够赐予人们的财富。
And then great sages, they're not interested to get the blessings of the goddess of fortune. They don't even think about material wealth, but they also worship Krishna's lotus feet.
那些伟大的圣者们对于获得物质的财富裕呢，没有丝毫的兴趣。但是，甚至这些伟大的圣人们也崇拜主 Krishna。
So Krishna's lotus feet is the highest goal of life.
因此，主 Krishna 的莲花足是生命的最高的目标。
And the devotees, they're only interested in pure devotional service. They also don't want anything material.
而那些奉献者们，他们只对于获得纯粹的奉献服务感兴趣。
They're not interested in liberation.
他们对于物质财富，对于获得解脱都没有丝毫的兴趣。
So Krishna gives himself to these devotees.
因此，主 Krishna 就把他自己给予了这些奉献者。
So karmi and jnanis, they may be they may be elevated, but they're not on the level of devotees.
Karmi 们、果报工作者，还有 Jnani 思辨家们，他们也许都是地位崇高的人物，但是他们比不上奉献者的地位。
And the devotees are above all these people. And above all these people, among the devotees, we've got the cowherd boys.
这奉献者的地位远远较于那些 Karmi 和 Jnani 的地位崇高。在这些奉献者当中呢，有那些牧牛童。
And he enjoys great happiness there with the cowherd boys. He's very attached to being with them and to playing with them.
主 Krishna 非常依附于这些牧牛童们，他跟他们一起玩耍，得到极大的快乐。
So although the cowherd boys, they're devotees, they do different kind of worship. They don't worship Krishna in a formal way, but they worship Krishna by their friendship with him.
那些牧牛童们，他们以另外一种方式来崇拜 Krishna， 他们不是正式的来崇拜 Krishna， 他们是通过自己的友谊来崇拜 Krishna。
And Krishna's relationship with the gopis is even more special because Krishna gives very special love for the gopis.
而主 Krishna 跟那些 gopi 牧牛姑娘的关系又是非常独特的，他给予他们特殊的爱。
This is Krishna's most famous of all of his pastimes with his devotees, is his loving relationship with the gopis. But unfortunately, it's often not understood properly.
主 Krishna 和那些和牧牛姑娘之间的这些消时光是最闻名遐迩的，因为他对这些gopi们满怀着深情，但是很不幸的是，他与 gopi 的关系们常常不被人们所理解，被误解。
So Uddhava is thinking like this as he's approaching Vrindavan. He's thinking that when I get to Vrindavan, and I will bow down to the lotus feet of Krishna and Balaram.
Akura 里面
Yeah.
所以 Akura 就一路上就这样想着，当我到了文达文的时候呢，我就会向主 Krishna 向主 Balarama 致以顶拜。
Because these lotus feet are what all the great sages, they're all keeping within their minds. They all take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. So I also want to offer my obeisances to these lotus feet.
因为他们的莲花族，甚至是连那些伟大的圣人们也恒常的意念并且托庇的对象，所以当我见到他们莲花族，我也会向他们致以顶拜。
And Uddhava said, Akrura says, I will offer my obeisances to Krishna's boyfriends, the cowherd boys, and all the people of Vrindavan.
Akura 说，我会向主 Krishna 的那些牧牛童朋友们，向文达文的全体居民致以虔敬的顶拜。
And Uddhava says, when I fall at his feet, at the feet of Lord Krishna will place his lotus hand upon my head.
Akura 就接着又想，当我向主 Krishna 莲花族顶拜的时候，主 Krishna 会仁爱的把他的莲花手放在我的头上。
And when that hand touches my head, it will take away all fear, the fear of the material world and the effects of time.
当这只莲花手放在我的头上，就会拿走我对物质世界的一切恐惧，拿走我对时间的恐惧感。
In the material world, everybody's fearful about the effects of time.
在物质世界，人人都恐惧时间的影响。
But if we get the right association, this by Vaishnava, association with the devotee, we can become fearless.
我们倘若能得到 Vaishnava， 能得到奉献者的联谊。
Okay.
我们就能变得无惧无畏了。
So we will stop.
那我们的讲课部分就到这里。
Stop here, yeah.
Then we have a question left by last Saturday night. This is from anonymous devotee. 顶拜古尔玛尔莲花组，顶拜翻译。请问生物永恒本性是服务，这个服务的本性在离开躯体也存在吗？Obeisance to Lotus feet of Guru Maharaj. My question is that when the living entity's eternal nature is service. So when they left their body, this nature of service still exists?
Yes. Because the nature of the soul is service. It's not just the nature of the body, it's the nature of the soul. So the soul is eternal. So we take that nature with us wherever we go.
是的，也存在着，因为灵魂的本性就是服务。它不是指的是躯体的本性，因为灵魂是永恒的，所以它就带着这种永恒的本性。
All living entities, we have that nature. The constitutional position of all living entities is to be servant.
所有的众生，他们的构成性本性、构成性地位就是服务。
But we see people, instead of serving Krishna, they're serving the dog, they're serving so many other things instead of Krishna.
但是我们看到的现象是，人们他们不崇拜 Krishna， 他们不服务 Krishna， 他们反而去服务那些狗、宠物狗，服务其他的。
So when our consciousness is purified, then we will engage in the service of Krishna.
当我们的知觉得以净化的时候，就会转而开始服务 Krishna。
And that is our constitutional position, where we're meant to be. We're meant to be engaged in Krishna's service. But instead of serving Krishna, we serve the family, the society, the country, we serve the dog, we serve the car, we're serving so many other people.
所以生物的构成性的本性、构成性地位、构成性的本性就是去服务 Krishna。但是现在人们他们没有去从事对 Krishna 服务，他们去服务家庭、服务社团、社会、服务国家、服务爱猫爱狗、服务他们的爱车、服务其他的人物。
So we cannot give up being servant.
我们是无法放弃就作为仆人的地位的。
In every situation you'll see mother is serving the child, husband is serving the wife, teacher is serving the students, students serve the teacher. We all have that nature to be servant.
我们看到母亲会服务孩子，丈夫服务妻子，老师服务学生，学生服务老师，所以这就是他们的本性天性。
We have to learn to direct our service to Krishna.
我们现在要学习怎么把我们的服务的对象转换成被 Krishna 做服务。
All right?
今天的问题，但 淡然一笑。Goloka Vrindavan 有南大大军吗？和这个地球上的南大大军是一个人吗？据说这个地球狗哭了的南大大军有前世的苦行，才能成为 Krishna 的养父。Is there Nanda Maharaj in Goloka Vrindavan? Is he the same person as that in this earth planet?
Yes, he is.
是的，有 Goloka Vrindavan 有南大大军和地球上的是一个人。So it's said that Nanda Maharaj, because of his past austerity in his past life, that he became Krishna's stepfather.
No, that's not true.
不是的，这个不是这样的。
Nanda Maharaj is Nitya Siddha. He's always Krishna's father. He didn't do austerities to become Krishna's father.
南大大军是 Nitya Siddha， 他是 Krishna 永恒的父亲，他不是因为做了苦行才成为主 Krishna 的养父。The next one from 喜宝。Hare Krishna 顶拜咕噜和老师们，听咕噜讲了那么多那么久Gopa Kumar 穿越星球的故事，我有2个疑问，请咕噜回答。一，作为被物质元素污染和覆盖的普通人类，我们该如何培养像 Kumar 那样一心一意专注于服务主 Krishna 的品质呢？ So Hare Krishna basis guru and teachers, after listening such a long times about Gopa Kumar's travel across planets, I have 2 questions. I want Guru to answer. The first one is that as an ordinary human being that is covered by material elements and polluted by material elements, so how can we cultivate the quality of Gopa Kumar, who is devoted to serve Supreme Lord, single-minded?
Yes, we can cultivate these qualities by engaging in bhakti yoga, beginning with hearing and chanting, and strictly following the 4 regulative principles.
我们可以通过遵守 Bhakti Yoga 的程序来培养这些品质，通过聆听、唱诵，通过严格的遵守4项规范原则来培养。
We have to hear about people like Gop Kumar. We have to hear about the spiritual world.
我们需要去聆听有关于 Gopa Kumar 的事情，聆听有关于灵性世界的事情。
And if we hear more, we'll also become attracted. We'll also be thinking, want to go there.
随着我们越来越多的聆听呢，我们就会受到吸引，然后我们也想去那里。The
Second.
next part. Sorry.
Go ahead.
The second part of the question is that 既然灵魂是永恒全知的，如果我在当下此生就不断训练自己的奉爱品质，请问咕噜会在关键时刻以某种力量来帮助我吗？就像喜马拉雅山那些神秘的咕噜一样吗？感恩。Since the soul is eternal Satchit, if I train myself at the present moment about to cultivate devotional quality, may I ask Guru to help me at the critical moment by some power, just like those mystic guru in Himalaya mountain?
Well, the Guru is helping you at every moment by giving his instructions, by giving his teachings.
Guru 实际上是时时刻刻的都在通过 Guru 的训示，通过 Guru 的教导， 在帮助你。
So when you need special help, then the Guru's instructions will come there. It may come simply, it may appear in your mind, or he may directly come and instruct you.
当您需要特殊帮助的时候呢，Guru他就会以训示的形式到来，就是在心意里出现，在您的心意里以训示的形式出现在您的心意里来帮助你，或者是 Guru 直接就来教导你。
Just like we say Srila Vyasadeva had written so many books. He'd written 18 Puranas and the Mahabharata. But he was not satisfied. He was very despondent. And he could not understand what was wrong. So at that time his spiritual master appeared. He came to him and instructed him.
就像圣维阿萨德他写了18部往事书，写了马哈巴拉塔之后呢，他仍然内心感到不满足，他还感到很沮丧。就在这个时刻，他的 Guru 那拉穆尼就出现了，来帮助他。
Now sometimes the spiritual master may speak to us. You may be listening to the lecture of the spiritual master, and you may find within the message of the spiritual master, the instruction you want is there.
灵性导师呢，他会讲课，当您聆听灵导师讲课的时候，您会发现，就是在他的讲课当中呢，就有您需要的教导，就在讲课当中出现，就是讲课的讯息当中出现了。
You have to understand that everything you need to know has been told to you in the books of Srila Prabhupada.
您需要明白的一点就是，您要了解的一切知识都是在圣帕帕的书籍当中已经有了。
Just like if you have a problem, think what problem you have. Right? You have a problem, okay, you think you have this problem, just one problem, I know you have many other problems, but take one. What's the biggest problem you have? You think about it, okay, now think of a number between 50 and 850. Between 50 and 850, you think of a number, right?
我知道，就是您有很多问题啊。那比如说，现在你想着一个数字，比如说这个数字就是在50到850之间一个数字。
Right? Now open the Bhagavad Gita at that number. That number you think of, find that page in the Bhagavad Gita, open the Bhagavad Gita.
然后现在呢，你就想着这个数字，然后你就打开博家梵歌，翻开博家梵歌。
And now you read that page and you'll find the answer to your problem in that page.
然后你就在就是博家梵歌的50页到850页之间，你就翻开一页，您就会在这一页当中找到对您问题的答案。
All the answers to your problems are there in Prabhupada's books.
您的问题的所有答案都在帕帕的书籍当中了。
And when the Guru is speaking, he's just speaking what he's read from Prabhupada's books.
Guru 讲，从书讲按照帕帕书籍来讲的。
So it's not that you need something more. You just need to make use of what you've got.
并不是说您是需要更多的教导，您只是需要来利用这些教导。
Okay? Yes?
下一个问题 ，Rajendra 顶拜 Maharaj 顶拜主持，请问课中提到 Krishna 的奉献者非常罕有，比至尊天鹅还要罕有。国家梵歌第7章也这么说，原因是什么呢 ？There are several question mark。是 Krishna 严格筛选呢，还是人们不识货呢 ？So Obeisance Maharaj, and in your lecture you mentioned that the devotee of Krishna is very rare, even the number is even less than those Paramahansa. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 7, it is also said like that. So I wonder what's the reason for that? Is it that because those are strictly selected by Lord Krishna, or because of people they cannot recognize, they don't have the recognition?
Yes, we have to understand the qualification of to get devotional service. You don't get devotional service just simply by karma.
我们需要理解，要获得奉献服务的资格何在？获得奉献服务不是根据一个人的 karma 业报来获得的。
Somebody may become a Paramahamsa or may become a liberated soul just simply by their karma.
一个人他可能是因为自己的 karma 因果达到了至尊天鹅的地位，或者得到了解脱。
But to become a devotee, a real devotee of Krishna, we're talking about a genuine devotee, a pure devotee, it's very rare. It's not just karma. You have to get the mercy of a devotee.
但是如果要成为 Krishna 的奉献者是极其我们这里提到的是真正的奉献者，纯粹的奉献者，这是十分罕见的。这不是靠 karma 它的因果来得到的，而是要通过得到一个奉献者的仁慈。
Right? We get bhakti from somebody who has bhakti.
我们必须要从一个拥有 bhakti 的人那里得到 bhakti。
So we have to find out that person who's got bhakti, and we have to get it from them.
我们要找到拥有 bhakti 的人，从他那里得到 bhakti。
Now, some devotees are very merciful, then they may give bhakti, but not everybody wants it.
奉献者也许非常仁慈，他拥有 bhakti， 但是问题是不是人人都想要这份仁慈？
Not everybody wants to be like the devotee. They think, oh, devotees, they don't have money, they're not rich, they don't enjoy. Oh, I don't want to be like them.
因为你看奉献者，他们又不去享受，他们又没有钱，我可不想跟他们一样。
People want sense gratification. They don't want devotional service.
人们想要的是感官享乐，他们不想要奉献服务。
Yeah. What else does he ask?
It's okay. You answered all the questions, I think.
Okay.
The other 下一个问题是来自于喜宝。顶拜咕噜，我还有另外一个问题，请咕噜解答。我在佛法和 Krishna 知觉里看到过对生活很失望的人，他们说，一方面被自己过去的罪恶和当下无法突破的罪恶品质而厌恶自己，另一方面对现在这个充满黑暗和陷阱的世界感到绝望。请问咕噜，如果一个人在知识真理的沐浴下有了忏悔和罪恶感，他是否可以学习 Sakti 女神那样向神祈祷死亡 结束此生，重新开始下一次新生命中开始奉爱服务呢？ So, of this school, I have another question. I saw some people. So in my practice of Buddhism and Krishna consciousness, I met some people who are very disappointed about life. And on the one hand, they are very disgusted with themselves because of their own previous sinful activity and their own bad quality they cannot break through. On the other hand, they are very despair with this material world that is full of darkness and full of those pit. So my question that the first part is that if one under the base of absolute truth and knowledge, one feels very regretful, and they have a sense of they felt themselves very sinful. And under such circumstances, can they learn from Sati, I think Shakti Devi, that she prayed to God to finish their lives by death, and they can begin a new life and to begin devotional service. Shakti.
Devotional service is the new life. When you take initiation from the spiritual master, that is the second birth.
奉献服务就是新生。当您从灵性导师那里得到了启迪之后，这就是第二次的诞生了。
You have to prepare for the initiation seriously. You have to give up all your sinful activities, and you have to regret and feel very repentant about your past sinful activities.
您必须得真诚的做好准备来获得这个启迪，并且放弃所有的罪恶行为，而且为自己过往的罪行感到忏悔。
Then you have to take up the devotional activities, and you have to show your genuine sincerity to begin the new life.
然后之后就开始从事奉爱服务的活动，并且满怀真诚的开始一个新的生活。
So this is the actual new life. You don't have to give up this body. You just simply have to give up the past consciousness, change the consciousness.
这就是新生了。你不需要放弃躯体，只需要放弃过往的知觉。
So it is said, everyone has a mother and father, but only the fortunate person has the spiritual teacher, and by the grace of the spiritual teacher, they can connect to Krishna.
据说人人都有父母亲，但是只有一个幸运的人，他能得到灵性导师。藉着灵性导师的仁慈，他可以跟 Krishna 取得连接。
So the seminal birth, the first birth of the material body, it's not so important. What's more important is the second birth at the time of the spiritual initiation.
就是通过精液诞生的这种第一次诞生不是那么重要的，重要的是第二次诞生，就是得到灵性的启迪，这才是重要的。
Is it clear, Sibal?
希望您清楚了吗？ So she had the second part of question is that 如果一个人是强烈的带着奉爱愿望，以选择自杀离开躯体，能否在下一世获得奉献者的仁慈，遇到 Krishna 之觉呢？ If one selects to left his body by taking suicide and with strong devotional desire, can this person in the next life achieve the mercy of devotee and meet Krishna consciousness?
No.
不能，
It's not possible.
不可能。
If it was possible, then we could all commit suicide.
如果是可能的话，那我们都自杀算了。
This is a stupid idea. Don't think that you can ever get Krishna by committing. The body is given by the grace of Krishna. You have to use it for Krishna's service.
不要那么愚蠢的有这种想法。这个躯体是 Krishna 给予我们的，是 Krishna 的仁慈。我们要用躯体来为 Krishna 做服务。
You're not going to change your situation just by committing suicide. You're going to carry your karma with you.
一个人他不能通过选择自杀来改变他的处境，他So cannot change the situation by suicide. And what about karma?
The karma will be there, still be there.
OK， 所以即便是一个人以这种方式结束自己的生命，他的业报会一直跟随着他。
And if you commit suicide to the body, you're destroying the body given to you by Krishna, so you take on more karma.
如果一个人通过自杀来毁灭这具由 Krishna 给予的躯体的话，他会要承担更多的业报、因果、业力。
And you can become a ghost in your next life.
那一个人他来世可能成为鬼魂。
Because you destroyed the material body, so you're not given a gross body in the next life.
因为一个人他毁灭了粗糙的物质躯体，所以来世他就没有这个物质躯体了。 The next question. 下个问题是Rajendra Prabhu 的，在梵歌8.13要旨中有如下描述 ：Devotees of Krishna enter the Krishna planet Goloka Vrindavan for the personalists there. There are also innumerable other planets known as Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual sky, whereas the impersonalists remain in the Brahmajyoti. 问题一：人格主义者去无忧星宿，这里人格主义者指什么样的人？我也是奉献者吗？
人者主义者什么？ Personal, yeah.
Yeah, personalists.
做什么？
人格主义者去无忧。The personalists they will go to Vaikuntha. So the personalists here it refers to what kind of personalists?
Well, they have to be devotees without material desire.
这里指的是那些没有物质欲望的奉献者。
And if you're going to go into Vaikuntha, to the spiritual world, they have to be free of material desires.
你想要去外坤的灵性世界，必须要免除了物质欲望才能去。
And they have to be in the mood of giving loving service to Krishna.
并且怀着给予 Krishna 心为 Krishna 做服务的心态。
No, nobody else gets to go to the spiritual world.
除此之外，别人是无法去灵性世界。不也是奉献者吗？第二 ，Krishna 的奉献者去Goloka，ISKCON 的奉献者都崇拜 Krishna， 都去哪呢？都是哪里 ？Devotees of Krishna go to Goloka. What about the devotee of ISKCON? They worship Krishna. Where are they going?
Well, it will depend on their mood in worshipping Krishna. If they cultivate the mood of the people of Vrindavan, the mood of Raga Bhakti, then they can enter into Goloka.
这取决于他们崇拜的时候的心态。如果他们是怀着 Vrindavan 的心态，他们是从事的是 Raga Bhakti 自发的奉献服务，他们就能去 Vrindavan Goloka。
To enter into Goloka, you have to cultivate this mood of the people of Vrindavan. It has to be spontaneous devotion.
为了进入 Goloka， 你必须得培养 Vrindavan 的心态，就是自发的奉献服务的心态。
If we're simply following the rules and regulations and we're doing Vaidhi Bhakti, and generally that mood is more prominent in Vaikuntha.
倘若我们只是遵守规范原则的话，就是从事的是 Vaidhi Bhakti， 那通常来说这是 Vaikuntha 的心态。The next question.
Yes.
下一个问题还是真帕布的。我在梵歌第8章提到 Yoga Mishra Bhakti 的瑜伽师也能到达灵性星宿。困惑是，这种瑜伽师只是打坐冥想，至尊就能回到灵性星宿，不是通过奉献服务，我感到有点困惑迷惑。So in the chapter 8 of Bhagavad Gita, it said that those Yoga Mishra Bhakti, those yogis that practice Yoga Mishra Bhakti, they can also attain spiritual planets. I'm bewildered. They only sit there, meditate on the spring, and then they can return to the spiritual planets, not through devotional service. I feel puzzled.
Yogis. Well, just like Durvasa Muni, he could go to the spiritual world, but he couldn't stay there.
就像 Durvasa Muni， 他也可以去灵性世界，但是他不能停留在那里。
So you're saying these are Mishra Bhaktas, they're mixed devotees. You have to see what are they mixed with. Are they mixed with gyan, with knowledge? If they're mixed with knowledge, they have some devotion to Krishna, but mixed with transcendental knowledge. They could go to the spiritual world. They can enter there, and maybe they'll have shantaras.
这里说到 Mishra Bhakta， 那你得看它是跟什么混杂在一起，是跟知识 Jnana 混杂在一起呢，还是含着奉爱，混杂着超然知识的奉爱。如果是这种情况呢，就能够去灵性世界。也许他们可能会是一种 Shantaras 中性的关系 Shantaras。
In Shantaras, they appreciate the opulence of Krishna, but they don't engage in any service.
在 Shantaras 就中性的ras 关系当中，他们欣赏至尊主的富裕，但是他们不会做服务。
Just like some different objects there in Shantarasa, the trees, the plants, the cows, they're in Shantaras.
就是像树木啊，植物啊，还有母牛，它们都是在商塔 ras， 就是中性的这个关系。
So these yogis, they're there in the spiritual world, they have no material desires, and they have some devotion to Krishna, but it's mixed with knowledge, and so they meditate, they're there, and their object of their attention is Krishna.
所以这些瑜伽师们，他们没有物质的欲望，他们就去了灵性世界，然后呢，他们也有一些奉爱的知识，他们呢就会在那里，因为他们冥想的对象是 Krishna。
So sometimes they're able to see Krishna, sometimes they're able to even maybe able to see Krishna's pastimes. If they're more advanced, they're able to see Krishna's pastimes. But those who are even more advanced, they will take part in Krishna's pastimes.
所以呢，他们会看到 Krishna。倘若他们更加进步呢，稍微进步呢，他们就能看到 Krishna 消失光了。倘若他们更加进步呢，他们甚至呢，他们就能参与到这些消失光当中。
So what do you want? Do you want to just see Krishna? Or do you want to see Krishna's pastimes? Do you want to take part in Krishna's pastimes?
那您想要什么呢？您是想要见到 Krishna， 还是见到 Krishna 消失光呢？还是参加 Krishna 的消失光呢？
So it will depend on our devotion, how much we're really attached to Krishna and loving Krishna.
所以这取决于我们的奉爱，我们有多大程度上的依附奉爱，依附 Krishna。
And as we heard, there's a discipline, there's special practice you have to follow. You want to enter into Goloka, you want to go into Krishna's pastime. There's a special spiritual practice you have to do.
我们在课程当中一开始就讨论到了sorry, first connect with the power.
There's the particular discipline which we have to follow and spiritual practices we have to do.
所以我们需要有特殊的灵性修习，才能进入 Goloka， 才能进入到这些消失光，这是需要特殊的灵修的。Just a minute. Okay. The next question about 淡然一笑。下一个问题是来自于淡然一笑。Akura 是 Krishna 的叔叔还是 Krishna 的舅舅？
Well, you see, in India they have the custom that somebody who's about the same age as your father, then you'll refer to them as uncle. Even though there may not be actual relationship there, but because they're of a similar age and maybe from the same place, so you'll speak to them, you'll call them uncle.
就是在印度呢，就是这样的习俗。倘若说一个男子呢，跟你的父亲是年龄相仿，而且呢是来自一个地方，都是出自一个地方，那么即便他们没有真正的亲属关系，你也可以称他们为叔叔或伯伯。
So we're told Akrura is an old man. And so we would think Jojo.
Akura 他是上年纪的人，所以称之为舅舅。
Meaning the older uncle, right?
舅舅 means from the mother's side, and 叔叔 means from father's side.
Oh,
Related.
like that. Shushu is from the father's side.
Yes, like Kamsa is the 舅舅。So she's asking.
I said, there doesn't have to be that kind of relationship to the actual family. But just because he's of that kind of age, to be like the father of the similar age to the father of Krishna, so he's referred to as uncle.
So that means 叔叔 or 伯伯, right?
But I said it's not.
Okay.
There's not that relationship.
对 ，OK， 所以并不是说Akura 跟 Krishna 真正的有这种亲属的关系，只是由于呢，他的 Akura 的年龄呢，跟他的父亲的年龄相仿，所以就称之为
Uncle。
就是在英文当中，这个 uncle 一词呢，既可以指叔叔，也可以指舅舅。英文它不分。
Yeah, it's very common in India that people will do like that. Somebody's the age of their father, so you refer to him as uncle. Uncle, there's no actual physical relationship, but just because of that, they're of that similar age, we will refer to them. It's a respectful, friendly way of talking to people.
就是在印度呢，就是这样子的，不是说真正的有亲属关系，他们只是就是以一种尊敬的方式，一种有爱的方式来尊称长者，就是大叔啊，大叔。
But we know Akrura is the son of Swafalka, so, I don't know where Swafalka comes, who is related to, I don't know.
Akura 的爸爸叫 Swafalka， 那我不知道他是从哪个地方来的。
Okay.
下一个。来自于海参崴的 Rajarani。Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj， 请接受我卑微的顶拜。从奉献者修习的三难的 Bhakti 和听他对 ISKCON 哲学的理解力，能够判断奉献者准备要回到哪里，百坤的世界或者狗罗卡文达文。So, can we estimate from the practice of devotee their sadhana bhakti and listen from their understanding about the philosophy of ISKCON? Can we judge where the devotees prepare to go back? Vaikuntha or Goloka Vrindavan?
Well, it's not a good practice to judge other people.
就是评判别人不是很好的做法。
Because we don't know what is their internal consciousness.
因为我们不知道他们内在的知觉是如何的。
We don't know how much they're really attached to Vrindavan and to Krishna. It's not something which we can always see.
我们不知道他们内心到底有多么依附Vrindavan，多么依附 Krishna。
Within our own spiritual practice, we have many things in relation to Vrindavan. Just like before we give class, generally we will sing Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
我们的日常修习当中，灵修当中有很多跟Vrindavan相关的事物，比 比如说在每次唱歌之前，我们唱的Radha Madhava。
And we sing the Govinda prayers, we're worshipping Krishna and Govinda Madipursam Tam. You know, these are they're very rasika. They're very elevated things. They can be very elevated, but they can be also on very low platform, depending on the individual and how our mind is absorbed, how we're meditating.
还有我们迎接神像的时候，所唱的那个 Govinda Adipurusha 听到的这首歌曲，它是相当的 rasika， 就是有着自发的，也是非常进步的。但是这个我们也可能一个人是非常进步的层面，他也可能是低的层面，这取决于他的个体他是的心意是专注于什么，他冥想的是什么。
So, I wouldn't recommend you to try to judge where is someone.
我并不建议您去评判一个人他能够去哪里。The second part.
Yeah.
第二 ，Guru Maharaj 说了，进入 Goloka 需要特殊的灵修，请 Guru Maharaj 可以解释一下吗？ You said that we have to have special spiritual practice to enter into Goloka. Can you explain it?
Well, that will be explained as we go on. You just wait.
我们随后就会在后面的课程当中会解释，您要拭目以待。
Generally, the mood is to cultivate this mood of the gopis, the feeling of separation from Krishna.
一般来说，就是培养那 gopi 的心态，与 Krishna 的分离之情。
And Prabhupada mentions this many times in his books.
Prabhupada 在他的书籍当中呢，提到了很多次。
Lord Chaitanya and all his devotees, they cultivated this mode of separation from Krishna.
主 Chaitanya 和他的众多的追随者们都是培养这种与 Krishna 的分离之感。
So being anxious, when is Krishna coming? When will Krishna come?
非常的渴望 Krishna 什么时候才能来？
还有问题吗？
还有好几个，3个。
继续。
下一个问题是，一个奉献者，他叫环，顶拜 Guru， 顶拜所有奉献者。刚才听到课堂上说 Shiva 的地位比 Brahma 高，他俩都是半神人，而且 Brahma 是主创造的第一个生物，是半人之首。请问 Shiva 是 Brahma 的儿子吗？为什么 Shiva 的地位比 Brahma 高呢？不知道怎么理解，请 Guru 解释一下。
Yes, okay, why is Shiva on a higher position than Brahma? But you have to understand Lord Shiva is not a jiva. Brahma is a jiva, a position given to a living entity, but Shiva is very special. He's almost God, right? He's not a jiva like Brahma.
就是需要明白的一点就是 Shiva 它不是 Jiva 个体灵魂，而 Brahma 是给予一个 Jiva 个体灵魂的一个地位，所以 Shiva 它是特殊的，它几乎就等同于神了。
Lord Shiva is God in the material world, and the relationship between Vishnu and Shiva is like milk and yogurt. That Vishnu can become Shiva, but Shiva doesn't become Vishnu.
主 Shiva 就是物质世界的神，他和 Vishnu 的关系就好像是酸奶和牛奶的关系，主 Vishnu 就好像是牛奶，而主 Shiva 就好像是酸奶。
Lord Shiva, of course, you could say he took his birth in this world as the son of Brahma. But that doesn't mean that Brahma is superior to Shiva. That was just for the purpose of Lord Shiva to appear in the world.
而主 Shiva 呢，他以 Brahma 的儿子的身份呢出生，这并不意味着Brahma 的地位就高于主 Shiva， 他只是主 Shiva 以这种形式显现于物质世界。
Just like Krishna takes birth as the son of Nanda Maharaj, doesn't mean Nanda Maharaj is greater than Krishna.
主 Krishna 以南达大君的儿子的身份降临，并不意味着南达大君的地位就高于 Krishna。
下一个问题。
下一个问题来自于陈娟，顶拜姑对，感谢主播。为什么分离会产生狂喜呢？
Why do we become ecstatic in separation?
Yes.
Yeah, this is a spiritual emotion. In order to understand these kind of things, you have to understand more about the nature of Bhakti Yoga.
这是一种灵性的情感。为了更加深入的理解，您需要对 Bhakti Yoga 奉爱瑜伽的本质有更多的了解。
But the principle is that when you're separated from someone, your affection for them will increase greatly, and you'll be thinking, when is he coming? When will he come back?
但是呢，就是我们看到有一种现象，就是分离呀，会使一个人的爱的情感更加增长。他会想着，他什么时候才能回来呀？什么时候才能见到他呀？
Being separate from someone, we appreciate them more, and our affection, our attachment for them increases.
在分离当中呢，我们就会更加欣赏另外一个人，我们对对方的爱恋、对对方的依附反而会增加。
And so this remembrance of Krishna in this way causes ecstasy, causes the devotee to become ecstatic.
以这种方式来想着 Krishna， 使一个奉献者内心就会生出狂喜之情。
And that ecstasy is when Krishna actually comes, when the union comes, when the person comes back, then you feel the great pleasure.
在这种分离的情感当中，当 Krishna 真正的来临的时候，当与 Krishna 相聚的时候，就会引发出巨大的狂喜。
下一个问题。
下一个来自于荣，顶拜咕噜，想继续问有关服务的问题。请问怎样的服务才是合适的服务呢？之前我在另一个团体去提供免费服务，但现在接触奉爱瑜伽，被奉献者感动和吸引，因为我发现在奉爱瑜伽的人们，有些是真的非常无私，但原来的团体可能会有各种各样的原因来服务。请问我这样是否有分别心、有评判呢？我现在越来越不想为原来的团体服务了，感觉不到滋养，想转到奉爱瑜伽，这让我感到有点困惑。感谢咕噜。So this devotee, she previously she served in another group association, but after although they provide free service, but some of them have some motive to serve. But after she got contact with Bhakti Yoga, she was moved and attracted by devotee because she found that the people here are really genuine selfish. So she wondered whether are there any is this a kind of judgment? And
she said the people are really genuine and
in Bhakti Yoga.
And selfish.
Selfless.
Oh, selfless. Okay, selfless. Okay. So is this really Bhakti Yoga?
No. Oh no. Sorry. So I wonder, Business Guru, I want to continue ask a question about service. So I wonder what kind of service is the suitable service. Because previously I provide free service in another group, but now I contacted Bhakti Yoga. I was moved and attracted by the OT because I found that in Bhakti Yoga, some people are really selfless, but the previous group, there may be some reason they come to serve. I wonder if this kind of judgment, a kind of distinguishment. This is the first question.
Wait, okay, first question. Wait, I wonder, is this some kind of judgment if she judges people to be selfless?
Because she may be judged that the previous group is not selfless as Bhakti Yoga.
Oh. Well, yes, it may be a judgment.
是的，可能是一种评判。
You know, you may find sometimes, in the beginning, sometimes when we first come to Krishna consciousness, we may think, oh, all the devotees are very nice and selfless. But then after some time, then our opinion may change.
因为当刚开始进入 Krishna 的知觉的时候呢，可能会觉得，哎呀，奉献者特别好，特别的无私。但是过一段时间，这种观点可能会改变。
Yeah, you may get to know people in a different way, and you see that, some people are not selfless.
你可能对人们有更多的了解，然后就会觉得，哎呀，不是那么无私的。
So you should really try to understand the philosophy, the teaching.
所以您需要真正的去了解这门哲学，这门教导。
Don't just simply judge people.
不要就那么单纯的去评判人们。
Now some devotees may be good and some devotees may not be so good.
有些奉献者可能是优秀的，可能有的奉献者可能不那么美好。
So it's very important that you should understand the teachings yourself.
所以重要的是，您得亲自去了解这门教导。
Not just only by judging people.
不是仅仅通过评判人们。
Of course, meeting good people in the beginning, that can help you in the beginning.
当然，一开始就遇到非常好的人，可能就是对您会有帮助。
But I just worry that after some time, you may get a different impression.
但是如果说担心呢，过一段时间呢，您可能会有别的不同的印象。
So you have to appreciate the teaching.
所以您需要对这门教导欣赏这门教导。
Dear Bufan Tadawenti.
第二部分，she also in the beginning she asked what kind of service is the proper service.
So the proper service begins with hearing. You have to hear, and then you have to chant.
合适的服务是聆听，就是您要聆听，您要唱诵。
You have to take up the chanting of the Maha Mantra as a regular daily practice.
您需要 每一天都来念诵 Maha Mantra。
This is proper service.
这个是合适的服务。
还有呢？
还有是，because now more and more I don't want to serve the previous group because I don't feel nourished. I want to turn to Bhakti Yoga. This made me puzzled.
Please make me puzzled.
She said that like that. This is her words.
Well, you have to understand the teachings of Bhakti Yoga. You have to examine and study for yourself and make the decision. Are you going to practice? And you want to take up Bhakti Yoga, you have to try it out and you have to feel the effect.
你需要理解 Bhakti Yoga 奉爱瑜伽的教导，就是您需要去来检验，然后呢，您要自己来去做决定，是否来修习，而且呢，您还得开始去检验，开始去修习，然后去试验它的效果如何。
You have to practice. Take up the chanting, follow the principles and try it out for some time. You don't purchase everything immediately. You want to try it out first. You want to check it out, make sure that it's good for you, it's working and that you're able to practice.
您需要去修习唱诵，修习规范原则，这样过一段时间呢，您就来检验，试一试，尝试，做出这种尝试。来看看对您是不是有效果。
We don't say you have to commit immediately. We give everyone some time to investigate.
我们并不是说让人们立刻就做出承诺就发誓，我们会给人们时间，让他们自己来去做调查。
So you examine it carefully and find out if you're able to take up the practice.
所以您需要来去检查、去检验，然后呢，您来花时间来做决定，是不是真的想要去做这种修行。
Okay?
Good day. 我们现在已经9点多了，但是我们后面还有5、6个问题。
6个问题。
还要继续吗？还是下一次课
？6个。
对。
他们的问题怎么样？
有的是关于和今天的主题有相关的，有的是不相关的。
Well, 你觉得呢 Guru Mani?
I'm okay. I have time. It depends on you.
Okay. 继续。
下一个是来自于淡然一笑，还是淡然一笑。据老奉献者说，南达马哈尔在上一辈子叫多纳，快乐的权利是这样说的，是不是真的吗 ？In his previous life, Nanda Maharaj is called Drona, according to some senior devotees. Is it genuine?
Yes, it's mentioned in Prabhupada's books.
是的，这是属实的。The next one.
Yeah.
Radhesham Devdas 顶拜姑顶拜主持，请问奉献者恒常想着 Krishna， 要恒常想 Krishna， 不要忘记 Krishna， 可是 Krishna 形象很多，我们应该想 Krishna 哪个形象呢？
Well, it's up to every devotee to decide which particular form of Krishna you're attracted to.
这由奉献者来决定，他们是被哪个形象最吸引。
Everyone's an individual, and you have your particular taste and attraction, so you can decide which form of Krishna or which particular form of God you want to worship.
每个生物都是个体的，他们都有各自的品味，都受到各自的吸引，所以就由他们各自来决定，来崇拜哪个神的形象。
But Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda are very merciful, and they're very easy to worship.
Chaitanya 属Nityananda特别的仁慈，崇拜起来也特别的容易。
Okay, Shaigawanti?
下一个来自一个新人，外拜新人，顶拜孤的莲花族，顶拜翻译主持，顶拜您。瑜伽师的玄秘力量和 Krishna 玄秘力量有什么区别呢？ There are three question mark. What's the difference between the mystic power of yogi and Krishna?
Well, Krishna is the master of all yoga powers.
Krishna 是瑜伽力量之主。
The yogi, he can expand himself up to 9 times, but each expansion will be like a reflection, it will be a mirror image of the original form.
瑜伽师可以把自己扩展9次，但是每一个扩展呢，就好像那些在镜子当中的见到的影像一样。
But when Krishna expands, he can expand himself unlimitedly, and they can be doing totally different things in every different place.
但是 Krishna 他可以无穷无尽的扩展他自己，而且他可以是在不同的地方做着不同的事情。
So Krishna's power is so much greater than any yogi power.
Krishna 的力量是远远超越任何瑜伽师的力量的。
And the yogi powers, they get that power from Krishna.
而且玄秘瑜伽师的玄秘功能是来自 Krishna。
Shaigawanti.
下一个，什么是玄秘 ？What is mysticism?
I don't know.
我也不知道什么是玄秘。灵魂也在细胞里面。Are there any soul in the cell?
Yes.
有，细胞里也有灵魂。Is the soul in the cell super soul or individual soul?
Both.
都有。
Where the individual soul is, there will be a super soul.
无论个体灵魂在哪里，超灵都陪伴着个体灵魂。
Shaigawanti.
下一个来自 Rasa， 卑微的顶拜咕噜。我女儿问我，我们脱壁咕了，自己又很注意防范，是不是就不会感染新冠肺炎了呢？我说不一定啊。她说为什么？我该怎么回答呢？有点苦恼。Her daughter asked her, "We have take shelter of Guru, and we are very careful. Is that we will not be affected with COVID-19?" And I said no. And she asked why. How can I answer her?
We will not be affected. If we take shelter of Guru, what will happen?
Is that we will not
Be affected by COVID?
Yes.
And she replied no.
Yes. And her daughter asked why. She cannot reply.
Well, we will not be affected by COVID if we're very careful to avoid people who've got COVID.
就是如果我们小心不接触那些有新冠肺炎病毒的人，我们就不会被他们感染。
If you go into the jungle and there's a tiger there, you may be eaten, even though you're a devotee of Krishna.
如果你进入有着一个丛林当中，里面有猛兽、老虎，那你就会被老虎吞吃，即便你是奉献者。
So devotees careful not to take unnecessary risks.
奉献者会小心不要没有必要去冒险。
It's not Krishna's job to protect us. We have to make sure we protect ourselves, not be careless.
Krishna 没有这种要保护我们的工作，这是我们自己的工作，我们要小心，而不要粗心大意。
下一个问题。
下一个 Chaitanya Charandas Hare Krishna 的 Guru， 我喜欢一个人安静，不怎么喜欢跟奉献者交往，也不关心奉献者，这是一种非人格思想，还是超然的情况呢？
It's not impersonalism, and it's not transcendental either.
这不是非人格的，同时呢，它也不是一种超然的。
It's just an individual state of mind that he's not very sociable. He doesn't enjoy being with devotees.
这只是一种个体的心意状况，他不是喜欢社交，他并不是喜欢跟奉献者在一起。
One should become attracted by the association of devotees, or rather the association of devotees should be attractive. There should be nice kirtan, nice atmosphere to attract people. Then we will want to associate with devotees.
一个人应当受到奉献者的吸引，或者反过来说，奉献者应当吸引，奉献者的联谊应当吸引别人，应当有好的 kirtan， 有很好的氛围，所以这样就吸引别人想要来联谊。
But somebody doesn't like to go and associate with devotees doesn't mean they're an impersonalist. It just means they're not very sociable.
有的人不想去跟奉献者联谊，这并不意味着这个人就是非人格主义者，只是说他不喜欢热闹，不喜欢社交活动。
And sometimes people are just lazy. They don't like to go to associate.
有的时候只是出于懒惰，他就是不想费劲儿去跟奉献者联谊。
And just because they don't go doesn't mean they're transcendental. They're not transcendental. Transcendental means everything in relation to Krishna is transcendental.
不参加奉献者联谊，不等同于一个人就超然了。超然的意思是跟 Krishna 有关。
下一个问题。
No more.
No.
Hare Krishna. Good day. 就是这个我们回答的问题都已经回答了，但是前面有一个问题，我想进一步帮他问一下，就是那个淡然一笑，马达吉吧，他前面问到了，就是关于南达马达那个马哈拉，就是说您讲到了他是 Nityasiddha， 就是永恒解脱的这个同游嘛，但是因为在快乐源泉里又说到了他的上一世他有这个转世的这个情况嘛，我想他可能是想问这两个好像有点矛盾。
What Nanda Maharaj, that he's also Dara, a previous life. Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda are Drona and Dara. 是这个问题吗？
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not a contradiction. It's just a change in the name. But there's Drona and Dara are also Krishna's mother and father. It's the same position as Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda. They just have different names.
这并不矛盾，就是只是不同的名字而已。南达玛哈拉和亚修达他们上一世叫 Jona 和 Dara， 但只是他们仍然是父母 Krishna 的父母。
I don't know how else I can explain it. But Krishna's mother and father are only these two people, but they come in different places, different names.
Krishna 的父母就是这两个人，但是他们在不同的地方，他们是以不同的名字出现的。
But in Vrindavan, in Gokula and in Goloka, the Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda.
在 Vrindavan， 在 Goloka， 在 Gokula， 他们就是南的大君和亚收的。
They're the only ones who are always Krishna's mother and father, not in the sense, well, in the sense that they're the ones who enjoy Krishna's childhood pastimes.
就是南大君和亚收的妈妈，就只有他们两个人才能享受到 Krishna 的孩提时代的逍遥时光。
I can't explain it anymore.
我也不能我无法再进一步解释了。
好的，谢谢Good day。丹丹 Kelly 马达吉有提了一个问题，就是 Devaki 妈妈和Vasudeva 爸爸也是同样的化身吗？看 Maharaj。
No. Vasudeva and Devaki, are they the same incarnation? What? The same as what incarnation? They're also in the spiritual world. Vasudeva and Devaki, they appear in Mathura, but they're also there in the spiritual world. They're in Dwarka.
Vasudeva 和 Devaki 他们也是在灵性世界的，他们是在灵性世界的 Mathura Dwarka 城。
Dwarka in the spiritual world, right? We said it's an extension of Vaikuntha.
我们说 Dwarka 灵性世界的 Dwarka 是 Vaikuntha 的一个延展。
So they're there.
他们就在那里。
They're also Krishna's mother and father.
他们也是 Krishna 的父亲和母亲。
But they don't enjoy Krishna's childhood lila.
但是他们没能享受到 Krishna 孩提时代的逍遥时光。
That's only Nanda and Yashoda.
只是南达和亚收达才能够享受到 Krishna 孩提时代的逍遥时光。
I mean, the most pleasurable part of having a child, you enjoy the child growing up as a young child, you know, it's so pleasing. You know, Sati Mataji, remember when you had your son, he was a little boy, how you can dress him and how you can pick him up and cuddle him and how you can hold his hand. But now, you know, it's a very different relationship. Your son has grown up, you know, you don't have the same relationship with him. It's not so pleasurable.
就是那个当一个小孩子他成长的过程当中是有很多的乐趣带给父母亲很多的欢乐。当他小的时候是那么可爱，那萨提玛大家还能回想起当他儿子小的时候呢，他怎么给他穿衣服，怎么给他抱起来，把孩子抱起来，然后怎么去搂着这孩子，然后怎么拉着他的小手。但是现在他儿子长大了，这个关系就不一样了。
So Krishna reserves that position of his mother and father only for Nanda and Yashoda. Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, they're much greater devotees than Vasudeva and Devaki.
Krishna 只把这段关系保留给南达和亚收的妈妈。南达和亚收的比 Vasudeva Devaki 伟大的多。
All right. 我们可以结束了。
好的，好的。大家提问的热情特别高涨，所以我们结束吧。然后大家还有问题的话，我们周六咕噜讲课的时候可以再提啊。
好，谢谢。感谢 Sati， 感谢 Guru Mani 给我们真太的翻译，感谢所有的奉献者，祝福你们生活快乐，多宁颂 Hare Krishna Srila Prabhupada ki Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Hare Krishna